Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and today we are going to be having a look at Frog's new truck, which is based on the Nissan Titan, and without any further ado, we're actually going to jump into not only this new truck, but also a really interesting new map as well on consoles. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, the map that we are going to be looking at today on consoles is Canadian Runner 02. You guys are very familiar with this map in terms of the PC version, but this variant is being played on an Xbox Series X. However, as of recording this video, this map is available on all systems. So if you are a Xbox user or a PlayStation user, this map will be available for you to use. And I highly recommend that you use it, as well as the Canadian Runner 01 map. Both of the Canadian Runner maps are very well detailed, very well thought out, and very well created. The architecture of these maps is such a incredible masterclass in map design that they really are absolutely dev quality. Absolutely dev quality. Now, when we rolled off the boat back there, we could have kind of driven around and done some missions in the Paystar, which that is a viable option if you want to play through this map in sort of a standard way. But what I decided to do is use this map as a showcase for the Nissan Titan, or the TITANIOUS MAXIMUS, which is the version that Frog has created based off of the Titan that is now available on consoles as well. Now, it's a really cool looking truck, and honestly, I think that it's one of the best all-round scouts to make its way to consoles lately, because of the fact that you, of course, have the ability to tow trailers, and you also have tons of different suspension options and tons of different tire sizes and ways you can use the truck. You have standard height and lifted height towing and non-towing suspensions. You also have a crawler suspension. You have kind of a mega lifted, more mud-focused suspension. So your options here in terms of what you can do with this truck are pretty vast. Now, you also have a 42-inch starting tire size, but you can then go up to a 46 or a 47. Either one of the any of those sizes really are more than usable for anything that you'll be able to get yourself into in this truck. I personally really like the 46s on this truck. I think the 46s with the flexi suspension look really good. You could go with the 47s if you really wanted to, but for me, I really prefer the way the 46s look, and I think the truck drives in just a really well-balanced way with the 46s themselves. So I decided to go with the CK06 wheels, and going through the color options, I ended up kind of settling on a gray, like a silverish gray. I think it works for this body style. I think it works for this truck really well, and I think it just looks very good. Now, of course, with the flexi suspension equipped, you are definitely gearing this setup more towards trails and exploration than you are to towing. Now, if you did want to tow, you could obviously recover right back to the garage and equip one of the towing-focused suspensions, and you'd be good to go. But one of the things that I really enjoy about a lot of the suspension options on this truck is the fact that they are active as well. So having active suspension really does give you that extra little bit of flexibility, not necessarily in terms of actual suspension flex, but in terms of, let's say, if you had a really deep body of water you had to cross, or maybe some mud that you had to get through that you weren't too sure if the bumper was going to drag or not. Now, one of the weird things about this truck is that it makes the driver's hands glitch out a lot on the interior. I don't know why, but it also has real working gauges. I love the working gauges. You have a working tach and a working speedometer, but that driver's arms just, like, are not about it. For whatever reason, I'm just gonna imagine that that's some type of weird glitch and move on. I mean, I think the fact that we have a proper, just a proper pickup truck scout in general now in terms of mods is really cool in its own right. But the fact that it's basically a fully built off-road Titan, I mean, this thing looks great. I absolutely love the way these trucks look, and they're kind of one of those trucks that they can be sometimes a little bit underappreciated, and so I feel like the fact that we have this one out here is really cool to see. I'm genuinely glad that this one is out here and available to us, and also, driving it around, it actually really does feel well suited to this map. It feels at home here, and it feels like it really enjoys exploring these types of environments. Now, to talk about the map for a moment, as you can see here, once you get to that first watch point down there along the coast, that's one of the first watch points that basically anybody that plays this map is going to discover unless you turn left at the start. However, the way the map is designed and the way the missions are designed, it definitely encourages you to turn right, because that very first task that it gives you encourages you to turn right and to go down to the docks that need to be built, and that's sort of your quote-unquote greetings task. And then once you complete the greetings task, then you can actually start doing the contracts. And I'm really happy that this map is here, because I know the creator had quite a few hurdles that he had to kind of get through with this particular map. For some reason, this map didn't really want to cooperate too much with some of the newer updates, so seeing it here on console is really nice. And also, if you remember from a little while back when we did that giant mountain jump, that jump is actually on this map. So if you want to just like send some trucks off of a huge jump, this is the map that you can use to do it. And if you want to know where that jump is, I have a video specifically dedicated to that over on my channel if you want to go check that out. But just to kind of stop here and also kind of get a couple of like detail shots of the truck, it does look really good here, especially on the Xbox Series X. And I mean, I'm not sure how the load times for this map will be on older consoles, like a normal Xbox One, for example, because it is a large map, and there are a lot of details in it, there are a lot of missions in it, and there are a lot of items in it, so it may take a little while to load on older systems. So do bear that in mind if you're trying to load into this map with, say, the map itself plus like 2, 3, or maybe even 4 modded trucks or more, depending on how many you have installed. And do give it the time to load, and I encourage you to be patient with that, because this map is definitely worth waiting for. It's worth waiting for it to download, and it's worth waiting for it to load up, especially even if you have a slower internet connection. It's still, I promise you that you will not be disappointed if you have never played on this map before and you actually give it the time to download and install and everything. You will not be disappointed. You will genuinely enjoy it. Now, the way it's designed also basically gives you these sort of, you basically do the tasks and contracts in a system where one thing that you're doing, at least if you do it in order, everything that you do contributes to allowing you to do something else on the map. And I really like how they've set that up, because the way they've set that up basically allows you to always feel like you're making progress. And if you like objective-based gameplay, being able to always feel like you're making progress really goes a long way in terms of how much time you would spend on a map or in a given game world. And I know for me, if I'm playing a objective-based map or I'm focusing on an objective-based scenario, I like to feel like I'm making progress, because if I feel like I'm making progress, that keeps me engaged and keeps me wanting to come back to the map and keeps me wanting to come back to that particular region or map or area or contract or task or whatever it is. But I noticed that when I play maps that have really long contracts, it really depends on what mood I'm in, because if I'm in the mood to really sit down and work on a long contract for a long time, then I completely get that, and I really do understand the enjoyability factor of those. However, if I'm in the mood where I really want to feel like I'm getting things done around a map, being able to go ahead and like get a task done and then a contract done and then another task done and another contract done can feel very rewarding and can really go a long way in terms of keeping you engaged. And I feel like that's something that this map does very well. Now, unfortunately, I didn't quite catch it in time before the engine shut off there with the winch, but luckily we have an offline winch and we were able to grab it by the bumper and just flip it right back over in no time at all. Now, I also highly encourage you to try out this trail. It's sort of a waterfall / creek that runs all the way down the edge of this mountainside, and if you actually use this little creek as a trail, you can actually gain access to one of the higher mountains on the map really quickly and really early on, and it also allows you to get a lot closer to some of the watch points, and I believe a metal production site, or at least an area where you can pick up metal beams, if I remember correctly, which you will need to visit pretty often later on in this map's mission scenarios. So that is definitely something that I recommend doing, and it's also just a really fun little trail. It's a great way to test out the flexi suspension on this Titan, and that's why I also brought it down this way, because it's a great way to sort of make a little bit of a fun extra mission out of the fact that you just did that intro task. It's like, okay, cool, I did my intro task, and now I can, you know, go check out this trail. And also, there's another task up here at the top of the hill where you can actually rescue a van, the little loaf, from a very, very, very muddy sort of like bank of a lake. It's a really cool little mission, and I definitely recommend trying it out, especially if you're in a vehicle like this, although it's perfectly acceptable to do it in other trucks as well. And if you are planning on doing it in another truck, I would definitely suggest using the iX 3880 for it. However, the 3880 might struggle a little bit to go up this creek just because it's such a big, long wheelbase truck, whereas this definitely gravitates a lot more to doing, you know, trail work and stuff like that. So I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section down below on if you've used this truck, how it works for you, if you've used this map, how it works for you, and just overall how you are enjoying console mods and which ones are some of your favorites so far. So that is going to do it for this video, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.